Hi everyone, it's Nicole for Honeybee Stamps, and today I am sharing a Hog Wild birthday cupcakes card featuring lots of die cuts from Honeybee Stamps with a little stenciled background and then some stamped greetings, and also customizing some of the cupcake wrappers with the bitty patterns to give them a little bit of that pattern paper look. Let's start by building our background for our card. I'm going to be using a little picked raspberry distress ink to ink up and create an ombre effect on my background first. So starting kind of near the top and getting it a little bit darker and lightening as I get near the bottom and actually leaving it white near the bottom. It's going to be a naturally great spot where the scene kind of ends and I can stamp my sentiment. I purposely left it that way so that I'd have this little, open space that's going to really showcase the sentiment, because the sentiments totally tell the story and really are fun and punny and work great with the images. Then I'm going to take one of the Honeybee polka dot background stencils. This is the second largest polka dot. Polka dots are one of my most often used stencils. I'm a basics kind of girl when it comes to stencils. I almost always love my basics over anything else, and that's just because you can use them over and over in a million different ways. So in this case, I'm going to be creating an ombre effect much like the background with my stencils with the same color of ink over my background. You can do this with any color you want. You can mix and match the colors if you want to. I tend to kind of be a more tone on tone kind of girl in most of my crafting, not always, most of my crafting. And so I went with the picked raspberry over picked raspberry. Again, darker at the top, lighter as I get closer to the bottom of the card. We don't want to take that stencil all the way to the bottom because we want to leave that little spot along the bottom for our sentiment, which I did stamp with some Simon Says Stamp Doll pink ink. I did accidentally cut that out of the video. It's funny, I didn't realize my camera wasn't on, but I actually messed up the background and had to redo it. So I really wish I'd left it in just so you could see that these things happen. But anyway, I did stamp my sentiment along the bottom edge. I am now customizing cupcake wrappers. A lot of my die cutting, in fact, I think all of it, I did off camera. It's a lot of die cutting, you guys. This is a die cut heavy card. But I feel like that is just such a time consuming piece that is not interesting at all. So I do a lot of that off camera for you. I am using the Bitty Patterns stamp set. This is a little stamp set of 4 square patterns that I absolutely love. I will be linking at the end of this video to another card where I customized some of the large alphabet die cuts from Honeybee with this stamp set. It is fantastic for the letters. It's fantastic for small die cuts. It's a great way to create your own patterns if you don't have exactly the pattern to use. So here I am customizing with Tone on Tone Design these cupcake wrappers. Every single one of them is going to be one of the patterns. The plaid is definitely by far my favorite. We're going to do a diagonal stripe and a polka dot. I just didn't use that last one that kind of almost looks like a wood grain maybe. I didn't use that one today. I used the other 3. And it's very subtle. Then we've got a combination of a light cream color or a chocolate brown color for our cupcake. And then we're going to do something with frosting, whether it be a glitter cardstock, so it kind of looks like it's a sugared, frosting cupcake. Or if it's going to be the glaze on top, I'm going to apply glossy accents to that chocolate glaze. And then we're going to sprinkle that with Honeybee coffee bean tiny bubbles. The bubbles were kind of something I added almost too late, and I'll talk to you about that when we get to it here in a little bit. I'm going to go ahead. and stamp my remaining cupcake wrappers. I did leave my stamps in my MISTI because I could get multiple in here. I'm using a little adhesive there on the mat in my MISTI to adhere them and stamp them in place. Now I wanted to look like this little piggy is popping out of the center of this group of cupcakes and holding this scallop heart, and then have all of these beautiful cupcakes around it. This is a card, it kind of was in my mind, and originally it was a lot more simple than what you see here. I thought one cupcake, maybe even 2 or 3, a little row, have this cute little piggy popping out from behind. Pinky the Pig has been one of my favorite dies from Honeybee. I've done several cards with him. I just think he's adorable, or she, whatever. And as I was building it, I thought, wouldn't it be cute if it looks like she's popping out of this group of cupcakes? So some of the cupcakes will be adhered directly to the card base, and some are going to be popped up with foam adhesive. The trick in this is figuring out what goes where. And the best way that I know how to do this is simply to lay things out. Lay things out and start from the bottom and build up. I knew that I wanted my pig to be popped up and the cupcakes in the front, but everything else adhered to the background with some regular adhesive. It is a lot of teeny tiny pieces. I wish I had a better system to tell you guys, but I really just kind of had little stacks on my table ready to build. I did lay out as much as possible prior to putting this together. I used a big combination. The cardstock list for this is long because there is regular cardstock, there's inks, there's stamps to customize some of those cardstock pieces, there's glitter cardstock. So lots of different texture. But I'm going to start from the back and build up. Now this is chocolate on chocolate, and you might be like, wow, that looks horrible. My goal all along was with the chocolate on chocolate, I want the glaze piece to be glossy. What better to use than glossy accents? And this is going to give it that glossy, perfect finish, which will really definitely help it stand out against the chocolate cupcake. I didn't really do the tone on tone anywhere else, but I did do it on this one. I have 2 more cupcakes with the glaze, and then we're going to have 2 with the sugared frosting, the layered piece. The cupcake is from the latest Brie Mine release, and it comes with the cupcake wrapper, the little cupcake kind of half dome shape, and then you can either do the glaze or you can do the whipped topping or frosting topping, and then a candle and 2 little flame pieces. I think you can layer the flame pieces if you want. I did not layer mine. I actually just used them separately to adorn some of the cupcakes with candles. I'm using a crystal katana to pick up little pieces, put them where they go. And at this point, I'm really loving the little assortment I've got here. I did go ahead and put glossy accents on. That's usually one of the things I do last. I'm going to tell you guys why I went ahead and did it now. Mostly because I did not want to try to maneuver around the die cuts on top and try to go around this. If I had more time, I probably would have done it this way, added glossy accents, and let that completely dry for an hour or so before coming back and working on the rest of the card, just to make sure you keep your fingers out of it. I did get my finger in this one time. I'm lucky it didn't smear across the whole card and ruin the whole thing. It's one of those things that it's why I save it to last, but I think in this instance, you really just need to have a little bit more patience, a little bit more time maybe to put a card together, because you want to have that glossy finish in the background and then build on top of it. And in order to do that, it just needs to be done in steps. These 2 cupcakes, I fussed with those a lot, getting those exactly the way I want them to go. They, of course, are popped up with foam adhesive. We're popping up the pig. I'm applying that glossy accents to this cupcake too. Want to make sure that it's exactly where I want that to go. Make sure the arm of the pig is up there. You might notice that the pig's hoof is not in place. That's going to be last. I want those arms to look like they're holding the heart that we're going to add once the pig is all put together. In fact, she doesn't even have a head yet, poor thing. I am using glossy accents, pardon me, foam adhesive for 2 reasons on the head. 1, I want the head to be dimensional, and 2, those little foam adhesive pieces behind the eyes and the nose allow me to easily go ahead and inlay the nose pieces, the eyes, all of that. One thing I like to do for the pig, and I think I've done it on every card I've made with her, is I cut the nose, the snout 3 times and glue them one on top of another so that it has some dimension. I think it makes the face really pop. The top 2 layers of the frosting cupcake. Had to fiddle and fuss with this a little bit. In fact, I don't really like how this worked out so great the first time I pulled these top 2 layers off and redid them. Really kind of tricky simply because I've got so much dimension going. Also, before the glossy accents completely dried on those 2 cupcakes on the left, I added my glittery candles and the little flames on top. The glossy accents is going to help secure them to the card, as well as I want them to really be on there well. And that's where I got my hand in the glossy accents, so I didn't even have to put any more on. It really just kind of moved back into that spot where I got my knuckle into the glue. And while I'm kind of waiting for my glue to dry, I started fiddling with honeybee embellishments. Honeybee has some of the most amazing embellishments. And I came across my coffee bean tiny bubbles that I have, and I thought, oh, these would be cute sprinkles in the gloss of the cupcakes. So really quick, I grabbed those little bubbles. They're brown in color, and I sprinkled them on top of my cupcakes. And it gives fantastic texture and so cute. I just love it. It almost looks like little sprinkled cupcakes. I didn't think I could love anything more than the glittered frosting cupcakes, and I really think that the glazed cupcakes with those coffee bean bubbles, I love them even more. Really cute. I inlay then the eyes for the pig, and I drew in eyelashes. I love the look of eyelashes on these critters. I think it adds a world of difference. I'm also going to add some white highlights into the eyes. My white pens were not wanting to work so good today. I think the first one I had was a little bit dry. And I will come back later and add in some white lines around the pig to give her just a little bit more interest. Then I'm going to add some embellishment. I like this little trio of the candy hearts. So I went ahead and added these in a little line down that front cupcake wrapper. We're going to add some strawberry ice hearts to the background and to the center of the heart that the pig is holding. We're going to add some white Be Mine candy hearts to the other cupcake wrappers in the front of the card. Anything you can do to dress it up and really customize and make it fun. Honeybee does amazing embellishments. I highly recommend checking them out. I recently went and got a whole bunch more because there was some new things that I just had to have. I'm a sucker for little embellishments. I'm a sucker for heart embellishments. If you love heart embellishments, they have got some of the most amazing hearts. I absolutely adore them. I just labeled and put all of mine away yesterday, and it was so super fun. And here I had pulled off the top 2 layers of my cupcake, and I am fixing that now and much happier with my final result. And I had a little piece of foam that was sticking out here that I need to trim up. This cupcake gave me a little bit of trouble. So I'm just trimming up my foam adhesive square to fit behind it. And that ended up working really great. So the frosting is looking pretty dry. We've lost most of that milky look, or the glaze, pardon me, the Glossy Accents glaze. So it's pretty shiny. It's probably just about dry. I'm going to finish adding anything extra that I want to add to my cards. So I'm trying to add a little foam adhesive square back behind this hoof on my pig, because there isn't any, and it's going to help make it lie nicer after I get the heart popped into her arms. I also added a little foam adhesive back behind the candle for the cupcake in the forefront of the card. We'll glue the little flame down to the card base. I die cut all of my flames from gold glitter cardstock. And then for the heart, there is just an incredible, I love the stacking hearts and then the scalloped hearts. And the scalloped hearts are new also from the Brie Mine release. And they are made to work with the stacking hearts so you can create lots and lots of different layers. But they come in tons of different sizes. So everything from the super big to teeny tiny. And I'm going to use the second smallest from the stacking hearts to create that little hearts for the pig to hold. So if you want to switch up your sentiment, maybe lose the birthday candles, you could even make this more of a Valentine's themed card as opposed to the birthday design that I made this. I really just like pink and reds together a lot, no matter if it's Valentine's, love, or in this case, a birthday themed card. It can work for lots of different occasions. I like these colors together. And depending, as I said, what you want to use as a sentiment, you can make this work for different occasions. Cupcakes would be fantastic for a Valentine's themed card, and I think that could work really cute as well. I die cut my hearts from glitter cardstock. I'm going to glue those together. Got the pink on the white, so the white's the little scallop there. Just such a huge fan of these hearts. And we're going to tuck that heart into her arms, almost covering up part of her face, like she's holding it in front of her face, which I really like. I think that's a cute little touch. And we'll finish the center of that with a strawberry ice heart. I did play around with lots and lots of different hearts, trying to decide what combination I wanted to use. Finished off adding any additional pieces to the pig that I needed to add. And I really thought I might do a red heart, but I decided not to, and I'm glad I didn't. I thought the red just wasn't working here today. I didn't really use a red cardstock. The one cupcake wrapper that is red is actually raspberry, so it's got enough of a pink tint to it that it's not super duper red. So I stuck more to the pink color family for my accents. Using the glue tube and a crystal katana to just pick all of these little pieces up and put them down in place. We're going to flip our panel over, snip off anything hanging off the edges. So each cupcake has just a tiny bit hanging off each side. And I really wanted to add some little dots to the end of this little piggy says. So I did that with a Stardust glitter pen. I didn't want to use black since none of the rest of this sentiment was in black, and I thought that the Stardust pen would work nicer with the pink ink used for the sentiment. And we want to do something for those cupcake wrappers on the front. We've got the cute little trio on the dark pink. So I'm going to add a white candy heart to the center of the light pink and a white candy heart to the upper left corner of the raspberry cupcake wrapper. Just love these little candy hearts. I know I've said it a zillion times, but I think they're fantastic. For the inside of the card, I'm now going to take the rest of my sentiments from the Ham It Up stamp set, which is where the greetings for the front came from as well. And it's going to read, "It's your birthday, go hog wild." So the sentiment from start to finish is going to read, "This little piggy says," and then you open up the card, "It's your birthday, go hog wild." I love that. I love that the sentiment continues on the inside of the card. It finishes off the design so nicely. Honeybee is incredible at creating greeting stamp sets that work with their images, with their dies, but that you can really customize and build your sentiment to say exactly what you want it to say. So many of these words are separate or just a little snippet of words, and you can mix and match them to say all kinds of different greetings that work for many different occasions. I am going to score my card. I'm going to put some adhesive on the front and then pop my panel in place and give you a little look at the card. A nice little close-up of what it looks like on the front and then on the inside. Thank you guys so much for joining me today for this Hog Wild Cupcake birthday card featuring honeybee stamps and dies. The supplies I used to create this card are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube. Here are a couple more videos featuring honeybee stamps and dies that you might be interested in. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me today, and we'll catch you next time.